Bonjour et bienvenue à notre leçon pour le pronom en. Alors aujourd'hui, nous allons discuter le pronom en et ça se trouve à la page 156 dans votre livre. C'est la même page du pronom i. Et voilà un exemple. Ok, alors où est-ce que je peux acheter de la lessive? Et la réponse, vous pouvez en acheter dans le rayon maison. Alors voilà le pronom en. Et en remplace de la lessive. Oui, vous pouvez acheter de la lessive dans le rayon maison. En et de la lessive, c'est la même chose. Bien? Ok, voilà un autre exemple pour le pronom en. Tu fais du jogging? Oui, j'en fais. Voilà le pronom en. Et qu'est-ce que je fais? Je fais du jogging. Alors, en remplace du jogging. Où est-ce qu'on achète des timbres? Point d'interrogation. On peut en acheter à la poste. On peut acheter des timbres à la poste. On peut en acheter. Okay, so what do we notice in all of those examples? We have the pronoun en, and it's replacing something. Remember in our last lesson we said that pronouns are used to replace something, usually a noun. And so en is replacing a noun here, and here, and in an original sentence. And if you notice, there's something that all these sentences have in common, and it's that en is replacing de la, or du plus a noun, or de plus a noun. So that's going to be the first thing that we want to pick up on and put in our notes. Okay, so we're going to start our notes, and you remember that the last time we worked with E, we said that in our study of pronouns, we always want to know 3 or 4 basic things. And the first one is, what is the pronoun in French? And the pronoun is en this time. And the second thing we need to know is, what does it mean? How do you translate it? So the pronoun en is going to translate as the word some or any. But like the pronoun e that we did last time, it can have other translations as well, but this will be the main translation. And you're going to use en, as we just saw in those examples, to replace a form of de plus a noun. A form of de plus a noun. Now, what do I mean by a form of de? That means that sometimes instead of having the exact word de, you're going to have a form of it, like the partitive article. So remember that if you have de plus le before a word, like de le foot, you don't say de le, you would say du. Remember that? Or de plus les, you don't say de les, you change it to de. So instead of seeing the word de exactly, you might see du or de, but the point is it's going to be a form of de or a partitive article plus a noun. Okay, so an example of that would be tu veux. We'll stick with easy short sentences because they're short to write on this small board. Tu veux de la glace? Do you want some ice cream? Sure, I want some. I want some. So here's the de la glace that comes out, and I'll answer with j'en veux. And the pronoun goes before the verb. Okay? So de la glace, we have a form of de plus a noun, glace, so we replace it with en. Okay? Another example. Est-ce que tu fais du jogging? Est-ce que tu fais du jogging? Do you jog? Non, pas vraiment. So I'm going to answer this negatively, which is not going to change my use of en at all. Je ne fais pas. Okay, I don't have the pronoun there yet. Now I'm going to replace du jogging with en because I have de plus a noun. So this comes out and I replace it with en, and it goes in front of the verb. Here's the verb, so I'll put it right here. Je n'en fais pas. Okay, tu fais du jogging? No, je n'en fais pas. Now here it doesn't really translate as some or any, does it? Do you jog? No, I don't. So one thing we have to remember is that you're not always going to be able to translate this perfectly, and even in English, when we don't really say a pronoun, we have to use en in French. If we have a de and we're taking that out of our answer, we don't have the du jogging here, we have to include the en even if we don't translate it into English. We did that with E as well. Another example of that negative, we could do tu as de l'argent, tu as de l'argent. Do you have any money? Okay, here's my de plus a noun. Now first I'm going to say oui, j'en ai. Yes, I have some. Or I can say non, je n'en ai pas. No, I don't have any. And so that's how it can mean some or any. And again, even if in English I were to say, do you have any money? Yeah, I do. I do. There's no pronoun in English. In French, I have to include the en. So even if you don't translate it in English, you have to include it in French. Okay? All right, let's take a look at other ways you can use de. It's not always used with a noun. It could be used with a verb. For example, j'ai envie de dormir. I feel like sleeping. And if I were to just say, I feel like it, do you feel like sleeping? Yeah, I do. The French would have to say, I feel like it. Then here's de plus an infinitive or a verb, but because I have de, I must replace it with en as the pronoun. Goes right here, so j'en ai envie. Okay? But the point is that when you have en, you're really looking for de. A form of de plus either a noun or a verb, but you're going to look for de. Okay? So, in our notes for en, we have that en replaces de plus something. Usually a noun, it can be an infinitive like we just saw. Okay? Another thing that en can replace would be a number. For example, un or une. Now, we don't really think of un, une as numbers. We think of them as the word un, and they are, but they're also numbers. Okay? So, un and une plus a noun. That's the second thing that en can replace. For example, est-ce que tu as un frère? Do you have a brother? Yes, I do. I have one. Oui. J'en ai. J'en ai. So here's un frère. This is the word un. So un plus a noun. So I replace it with en. But the strange thing is that when you have un or une plus a noun, you have to include that number in your answer. Oui, j'en ai un. That number comes back. So you don't completely cross it out. You cross out the noun, but you have to keep the number. So that's a little bit different from when we had the word de, where de came out completely. This is a little bit more complicated than E, isn't it? Just a little bit. Okay, another example. Tu veux acheter une pellicule? Do you want to buy a battery for your car or something like that? Tu vas acheter une pellicule. So here's une pellicule. So that's going to be en. We need to replace it with en. So the person answers oui. Je veux en acheter. Okay, remember this is a sentence that has an infinitive, so the pronoun has to go in before the infinitive. So oui, je veux en acheter, and then you have to include that word une. It's going to go at the end, after the verb. Je veux en acheter une. I want to buy one. Okay, so we use en to replace de plus nouns or infinitives. We use en to replace un or une plus nouns. So A, deux, B, un or une plus a noun. And then C, actually any number. Un and une is a number, but really any number. So if I were to say, est-ce que, or I would say, j'ai trois frères. I have 3 brothers. J'ai trois frères. Or I could say, I have 3 of them. So here's a number. So I'm going to take out frère, and I replace it with en. J'en ai trois. And I have to keep the number. The number stays in the sentence. Okay, do you have any brothers? Tu as des frères? Yeah, I have 3 of them. The French have to include the word of them. They have to include the pronoun, so j'en ai trois. So in this case, instead of meaning some or any, I guess we could translate as of them. See, it's really, you kind of have to play around with how it translates. Okay, finally, expressions of quantity. And quantity is like a number. They all have something in common. These are all related to each other in a way if you think about it. Okay, expressions of quantity. Most expressions of quantity have de in them, don't they? So if you have, for example, a bag of potatoes, or a lot of friends, okay? These are expressions of quantity, and most expressions of quantity have the word de. So you're not going to be that confused. You're going to see de, and you're going to say, oh yeah, de, I need to replace it with en. So for example, j'ai beaucoup de devoirs. I have a lot of homework. If I want to say I have a lot of it, here's de. So I just replace it with en. I hope you can see that. J'en ai beaucoup. So if somebody were to say, do you have a lot of homework? Yeah, I have a lot of homework. Or, yeah, I have a lot. J'en ai beaucoup. Okay, so expressions of quantity are going to be replaced with en, and that's not going to be that hard to remember because oftentimes you're going to have the word de, but not always. And let me show you an example where an expression of quantity does not have de. Okay, the word plusieurs. Plusieurs means several. And that's an expression of quantity, isn't it? Okay, just like a number is an expression of quantity, the word several is an expression of quantity. I have several friends, okay? That's an expression of quantity. So if I were to say, do you have any friends? And I would say, yes, I have several friends. J'ai plusieurs amis. Or I can answer, do you have several friends, or do you have any friends? Yes, I have several of them. That's a pronoun, of them. So I would have to take out the word ami, and I have to think about the fact that plusieurs is a is an expression of quantity. I have to imagine that it's like the word de. So de plus a noun is replaced by en, and so is an expression of quantity plus a noun is replaced by en. So this is going to be replaced with en, and my answer is going to be j'en ai plusieurs. I have several of them. Now this, we're going to see in the next set of notes, the next video, is on expressions of quantity. You're going to learn a few more, and then once you learn them, you're going to realize that when you have those expressions of quantity, you need en. Okay? So en is a little funny. It can replace many different expressions. Most of the expressions will start with de, or a number, un, une, or any other number like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or an expression of quantity. But most of the expressions of quantity will have de in them. Last thing to know about a pronoun is where they go in the sentence, la position. And I'm not going to go over this board too much, but remember you have regular sentences and the pronoun goes before the conjugated verb. Passé composé, the pronoun goes before the helping verb. The infinitive, the pronoun goes before the infinitive. Or if you have a command, the pronoun goes after the conjugated verb in an affirmative command or before the conjugated verb in the negative command. So you can look at that, compare with the e-notes because it's the same set of notes. D'accord? Alors, au revoir, à la prochaine.